Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Friday, October 16th, 2020. Thanks for tuning in. Our solar wind speeds are coming in at 307.2 kilometers per second with a density of 4.5. Well, we broke the spotless streak a couple of times since we'd last been on the air. AR 2775 is now decayed and is moving away towards our western limb. And right now, say hello to AR 2776, and that has a sunspot grouping number of 14. So again, minor sunspot number. 14 is very low for a sunspot. But there are some indications that we have some activity that is around the corner, and could we start seeing a more fluid pattern of sunspots, minor ones to moderate. Our TCI, the Thermosphere Climate Index, is sitting at a 4.68. Our KP indices are sitting at a 1, and a 24-hour max is at a 1 as well. So very low KP indices. And we have a small coronal hole in the southern part of our star, and I'll show you that here on grandsolarminimum.com. But we are expecting solar wind from that small coronal hole sometime between October 20th and October 21st. Also, we'll talk about cosmic radiation. The dosage rate right now is 9.7%, and that is a minus 0.2% change over the last 7 days. Also want to announce that SPACEWEATHER.com did an update, and they just released a new batch of cosmic ray balloon data. The conclusion, atmospheric radiation is near a 5-year high. This plot shows a 15% increase since the monitoring program had begun in 2015. I remember when we were talking about cosmic radiation doing a 13% increase when it first started up back in 2015-16. So very slow progress, but we have seen cosmic radiation continue to rise, even though we know that we are sparking up a new solar cycle. And with that, we will see a beginning of increased sunspot activity throughout the next several months ahead. And again, we are starting to see indications of that, and I'll go ahead and let's jump over to the grandsolarminimum.com, our website, and take a look at a couple different stats. First, we had some C-class action from this sunspot. In fact, right here. Departing active region AR 2775 unleashed a pair of C-class solar flares on October 16th. Strongest C3.5 propelled a cloud of plasma into space. It will not hit Earth. UV radiation from the flares briefly ionized the top of Earth's atmosphere, causing minor shortwave radio brownouts over South America. So that is from those C-class flares are from a departing and decaying sunspot that we had, AR 2775, which is not even listed anymore or numbered. And if you're asking yourself where it is, it's right there. This is the one that we saw the C-class flares from. So again, it is not Earth-facing. We don't have to worry about any kind of major issue from that. In fact, let's get a better look at that. At the very end, you can see a little bit of the corona kind of just get blown out. At the very end of this, you'll see the corona right here kind of like act like something was ejected. And let's put that focus right there. This was the C-class. Now this, again, the strongest C-class they've seen in some time, as we've been in deep solar minimum conditions. There you saw there at the very end. This is the sunspot. This is the coronal hole that we'll be dealing with on the 20th and the 21st of October with solar conditions the way they are and KP indices. Again, it's not out of the question that we possibly won't see a 6.5 or even higher earthquake in the next 24 to 72 hours based on what we're seeing right now. Conditions are ripe. And let's take a look at the future, shall we? And this shows you the full circle. That 0 indicates earth facing. There you see AR 2776 in the eastern limb, but also behind the eastern limb, we see a pretty active region at the north 30 degrees. So is this the beginning of minor sunspot activity? Is this the end of the multi-week spotless day streak? Are we going to see a repeat of what happened in July, some brief activity, and then quiet again for several days before we start seeing more activity from the sun? So who knows what kind of pattern we're going to be looking at right now. The last time we saw activity like this was in July through August, and I could have swore that we were barely going to get to 200 spotless days for 2020. Well, we have not had an issue with that number. We are currently sitting at 204, and it is October. So we still have over 60 days left in the year. But right now, dealing with AR 2777, or 76, I apologize. 77 could be the next sunspot on the eastern limb, and let's take a look at exactly what I'm talking about here. The big picture is what I call this one. Here we are. This is well beyond the eastern limb. Here is the eastern limb right here, along that little crack where there might be a developing coronal hole. And this is the most promising region. This is our current sunspot right now. This is the departing sunspot that gave us that C flare. And this could be something of interest, maybe a little bit bigger than a grouping of 14 as well, if this continues to hold up. And it will probably be approaching the eastern limb within the next 5 days. So we'll see what kind of strength it has by the time it gets to the eastern limb of the sun. Will it be able to hold itself together? And my guess is that we've seen a couple of recent sunspot activities where they just pop up and they have held their own. So again, we've seen this kind of a pattern before back in July, where we had multiple sunspots, weak sunspot groupings, nothing massive, nothing, nothing to where it caused like a sudden, oh my God, it's the sun's awake, blah, blah, blah. But so we'll just have to watch this and see what we get for the next few days. My guess is it could be a mini repeat or maybe an exact repeat of what we saw in July, a flurry of activity and then some quiet, and then once again, more activity increases as we get closer to 2025. I want to say hello to a few folks out there. Matt Bros from Nebraska. I was just watching a millennial farmer video, and I guess my question to my friend here, Matt, is how is your harvest? Because according to Zach and his crew, this has been one of the easiest harvests they've seen in a long time. In fact, compared to last year, I keep hearing about how much easier this harvest is this year compared to last year. But the number one complaint that I could read between the lines with Millennial Farmer was his complaint on the yield. And he was explaining that he runs his tractor at a higher speed and it's picking up more plant material because of how fast things are going. And therefore, if they had better corn, better yield, they wouldn't have to run the machine at a certain rate. But for the most part, he was not complaining about his harvest at all. And Matt just confirmed in the chat, drier weather, but yields are down. And so we're looking at the same issue, but without all the bad weather delaying the reason why. See, last year the yields were down because of how bad crop damage was. We were battling floods. cold weather, snow, early snow. I mean, it was a mess last year. The fields were a mess. I remember if we played a drinking game with millennial farmers videos about, I haven't seen it like this before. Every time he said that, take a shot, you guys would have been slammed drunk by the 4th minute of the video. That's all farmers talked about last year, is how unprecedented some of the conditions were to harvest. And this year it's been, smooth sailing so far. I know, so there is some snow moving into Minnesota. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Matt has also told me that he's dealt with some drought-like conditions in his region. He is in Nebraska. So drier but low yield, and that is exactly what millennial farmer, that's his only complaint. Other than that, things are a smooth go right now. So, and tonight's show is focused around weather, and the reason why I'm talking about the crop harvest and everything is because we are now starting to see indications that old man winter wants to rush the show, so to speak. Temperatures tumbled as a preview of winter began moving in Friday, leaving areas in, I think it's Hoyton, Michigan, and I know Scott Rose will probably give me heck for that if I mispronounce that. Home to Michigan Technological University, located in the Upper Peninsula of the state, looking like a winter wonderland, and forecasters say that over the weekend, snow could fall across several states. And so this is just the beginning, as we are now starting to see snowfall across areas of Michigan, and here it shows also in BC and Alberta. There is the winter weather advisory is posted for Saturday. This is in Minnesota. National, and just to give you an idea, we were just talking about millennial farmer. Where is he located at? I believe he is somewhere in the northern part of Minnesota. So, and I'll tell you something, just like Matt Bros, this guy, Zach, over there, millennial farmer, these guys don't stop at 6 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock or, 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock even. These guys will run till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, go home and take a 2.5 hour nap and be right back out there by 3:30 in the morning. So the only thing this would do for harvest for guys like Zach up there in northern Minnesota is just delay the inevitable and waste time. This is a waste of time. There are things, trust me, these farmers have better things to do than to wait on the snowfall to get out of the way. But we are expecting some heavier snowfall. They've been seeing dustings right now. But as you can see in the northern part, we're talking 4+ inches, maybe a little more. 2 to 4 inches across most of northern Minnesota. But yeah, we're talking about mid-October in snowstorms. And not just in the northern plains and the Great Lakes and Michigan, but parts of New England could see snow this weekend. A significant slow-moving cold front brings Friday rain and then some Saturday snow. Early Friday morning, residents of Michigan and Minnesota are waking up to their first snowflakes of the season, where leaves haven't even come off the trees yet. The ground is already turning white. Some of the snow is coming to New England on Saturday morning, depending on where you live. The cold front we are tracking Friday as the coldest air since last spring coming into the Midwest through the cold will not be as significant here. So basically, we are seeing our first major cold front of this early fall winter season here in 2020. Ironically, I hate to, I'll save it for another show. I know a lot of folks differ on the virus, so I'll bring that up on a different topic. But very interesting correlation here, folks, between the temperatures now and in March, April at this time. So, but anyway, dealing with snow all the way across the northern part of the United States. I saw a Farmer's Almanac prediction, and we're seeing some, like, for instance, NOAA's forecast for the winter is going to be somewhere right around above normal for the Northeast. And again, I understand what that means. It could be just meaning a degree and a half above average. That doesn't mean it's going to be hot in the Northeast. So that doesn't mean we won't see cold temperatures, but they are acknowledging part of the truth as far as where we're going to see cooler temperatures. And that's across the northern plain states, the Great Lakes states, places like Ohio will probably see some really cold blasts this year as well. The Northeast, even if it just is a slightly above average, precipitation will be plentiful. So that doesn't mean the snow is called off for any means. And here's the thing. This is just being generous here. This is just being optimistic. We know with what's going on La Niña-wise, this could be a little bit different than what NOAA is thinking at this point. And I'll show you that. First, let's check out the watch boxes. I can't believe all these cold frost warning, freeze warnings all across the Ohio Valley and parts of eastern Kentucky, West Virginia, also western Pennsylvania as well, Erie, PA. We had a freezing rain warning in Medina, Ohio today. So we are just seeing all kinds of winter type weather on the 16th of October. We kind of talked about this happening not too long ago, a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago maybe. We will start seeing much, much colder weather by the middle of October. And here it is. And the snow is falling. Speaking of La Niña, we are sitting at a 1.158 below baseline. Folks, 1.2 below baseline is considered a strong La Niña. Okay? In fact, if you want to go ahead and compare, in 2015, when we had the so-called strong El Nino, the temperature of the El Nino 3.4 region or 3.4 region was 1.2 something. That was considered strong. And if you remember in 2015, I remember going to an outdoor football game in Cleveland, Ohio, December 15th, and the temperature was 65 degrees and I was wearing shorts. So if we saw a strong El Nino and it brought extremely warm temperatures to an area that should have been seeing snowflakes by that time, imagine what this strong La Niña is going to do as far as enforcing this colder air that's expected across most of the northern parts of the United States and the Northeast here in the coming days. So I say, hang on to your hats, folks. That region is dropping and dropping fast, and we will see just where we will end up. But right now, it doesn't look like it's a weak La Niña. These temperatures are trending downward and downward in a hurry. They are stepping down. In fact, I thought they were going to make a little bit of a rebound just about 8 days ago. And since then, this region has really taken a fall for that. So what does that mean for us weather-wise? Well, let's try to go through this together. I think GFS, in my opinion, has done a decent job this year compared to last year when it comes to the model runs. They've been closer than what they've ever been, in my opinion. I know the Euros are usually really, really good, but the GFS has not let me down and has been pretty much accurate. But anyway, let's take a look at the next 7 to 10 days, and then we'll focus on what's happening after that, because there is some significance to the long-term forecast on this. And I know I always tell people, don't get caught up in anything that happens after 6 days on this, because a lot changes fast, and it does. But there are some indications to me that tell me that we are maybe in for a pretty active end of this month, and it could be indication of what we have to come over the next several weeks till we hit winter. Anyway, So here's what we're looking at for Saturday. The rain finally is moving out of the northeast as well, as far as the New York side. If you live up along the I-95 corridor, you're going to be dealing with showers all day long and all night long. This is a slow-moving atmospheric river type event. Although it's not bringing the totals that an atmospheric river, it just seems to be a non-stop light rain that just continues all day long. At least that's what we experienced up here today in upstate New York. We got snow for parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the Great Lakes. More snow for Montana and Idaho and Wyoming. There's more snow moving in Saturday night. There's that 2 to 4 inches that is possible across that region. And then cold air kind of just moves in here in the northern plains states all the way through Wisconsin. And behind that is snow showers, rain. In front of that is temperatures still staying in the 50s, bringing lots of moisture again by Monday into Tuesday for the Ohio Valley into the northeast. And it just kind of system just kind of lingers for a couple of days after that. And then Wednesday, another system forming across the Ohio Valley. The snow just staying to our very north of the United States. All right. And then October 22nd, Thursday, almost 7 days from now, another low pressure system is moving in from the northern plains states, staying just north and staying in Canada once again. But another low pressure system bringing lots of rain. So we are seeing a pattern here. Heavier rain is going to continue over the next 7 to 10 days. That we know. The interesting part is each low pressure system that goes by tends to drag this colder air further south each run, and we get this reload in the atmosphere of rain and snow. And you'll see here, the GFS is showing us by October 24th, a pretty big system across the northern plains states. Now, last time we were on the air, I said watch somewhere around October 25th. And here we go. That same low pressure is flashing again in the long-term forecast. Also, look what we have down here in the Florida Keys. This gets really interesting, guys. So we move a little bit further here. This is Sunday. That low pressure moves across once again Minnesota, Wisconsin, northern parts. You guys will see more snow, but check this out. Talk about a pattern shift. October 26th. This is just outside our 10-day range. Things are starting to get a little bit gnarly out here. This is a very, very unique setup. I don't think I've ever seen a setup quite like this, to be honest with you, where the southern part of the United States is dealing with a Cat 2 hurricane. Miami, Orlando, Jacksonville. If this holds up, we need to be watching this right now. But this could be another hurricane making landfall in this historic record year so far. Because every time I've seen this forecast, this continues to expand. The storm is now trekking a little bit further west. Earlier runs of this forecast had this storm well off in the Atlantic. Now it's hugging the coast a little bit more. And the concern could be for a nor'easter. That's right, by Halloween for the northeast. So a major system setup could be happening here on the 26th. Like I said in the last broadcast, we should be seeing something major winter related by the 25th of October. And here we are, 26th. Let's move a little bit further. That low pressure system kind of tears apart in the Atlantic around Florida. The snow and the moisture disappears across the United States. Colder air trekking now further east. But did you see what just happened in the Gulf? Let me rewind this. So this system right here, the core of it rips away, the meat and potatoes rips away from this low and makes it almost like a hollow low, if that makes any sense. So you see the separation, and earlier models suggested that this could be affecting the northeast with the colder air, possible nor'easter. I don't know how to explain it, but GFS, and again, this is pretty far out, the 26th. But watch what happens here in the Gulf with that system. is this a new low pressure system, or is that the same one? Wow. So no matter what the forecast shows us here, guys, it's very, very interesting pattern. And again, there was a major chance for some snowfall across the Northeast before we went on the air. We'll take a look at temperatures real quick for the United States. A lot of that warmth is staying down south, the Midwest, the northern part of the United States, Northeast. It is full-blown fall. Northern Canada seeing 20s and 30s. And then a quick flash of some warmer weather by Tuesday of next week before I think that does it for the 60s and 70s for us here in the Northeast, parts of the East Coast as well. I think that's it. And then you see the much colder air moving in behind it. This is October 30th, Halloween. If there is such a thing as trick or treat, you're looking at high temperatures in the 30s and 40s for the most of the United States. It's going to be cold, guys, by Halloween for a lot of folks. Nice weather staying in the south, and that's usually typically where you'll get your nice weather at, the southwest and the west coast. But fall, and it's just going to be raw outside. Chilly, rainy pattern, cold nights. Look at that, 20s, teens possible in some spots of the Northeast. So plenty of cold air to go around. 30s and 40s look to be the new normal for highs towards the end of October. And as far as snowfall amounts, well, I've seen this change too. So if anything, GFS is definitely indicating that we are going to see some kind of a snow event happening here in the next 7 to 12 days. And it could be significant for not just parts of the northern plains and the Great Lakes, but there continues to be a flashing of a possible big storm for the Northeast. And I said this earlier, watch out for lake effect snow in western New York. And this thing here has us indicating by November 1st, several inches along Lake Erie for Erie, PA, and south towns of Buffalo, Williamsville, New York. We'll see probably some pretty heavy snows if that holds up. And that's all lake effect, folks, because we're going to get plenty of cold air running across. There's no doubt about that. But we will have to just continue to wait and see. The cold air is here to stay. But how cold does it get and how much snow do we get? Let's take a look at what's happening across the pond. And if you live in the UK, it looks like UK and France, you guys are going to definitely have the most wettest pattern in the next several weeks. And that's only by October 29th. I just counted 3 or 4 systems. So just a nonstop barrage, a parade here of heavy moisture, especially in the UK. Temperatures aren't bad. Temperatures actually, I don't think, are trending as cold as what we're seeing in some parts of the US. As you see right there at the end of the run, we're still in the 60s in some spots. But let's go all the way back and check out temperatures. Right now, pretty much the same as most of the United States, a little chillier right now. But it does start to warm up a little bit here by mid-October, late October. We got more 60s and 70s returning to France and the UK. And then a little bit hotter too in France. I mean, possible mid-70s, maybe some low 80s in the southwestern part of France. The UK even getting in that possibility of some 70 temperatures too. But once we get past mid-month, we start to see less and less of that kind of warmth. And cooler air is trying to prevail in Europe and in the UK. So I don't think it's going to be as chilly in the UK as it is across the United States will be here in the next several weeks to come. So overall, what do I think as far as weather here in the States? Possibly, well, we know this. It's going to be very wet. Temperatures are definitely going to be fluctuating, especially in the Northeast. It looks like we are on the verge of some kind of weird low pressure system situation down in the Gulf. And I've seen several runs of this storm where it actually continues to run aground here and go up into the northeast and combine with that system, creating a nor'easter of some type. Now GFS has this bad boy getting into the Gulf, but then taking a nosedive south. So all I can tell you right now is that we got some wacky stuff coming up for sure when it comes to weather. Very active pattern for here and the U.S. More moderate, consistent rain for the European nations, and some really funky looking storms heading our way here in the United States. And hopefully everybody that's a farmer is experiencing a good harvest right now. But I'm curious, if there are any farmers that are watching tonight or know anybody that's a farmer. I'd like to hear from them in the comments section and hear about what kind of yield. Is it better this year? Is it lower this year? Yes, we're having favorable weather up until now for harvesting, but how are the yields looking? All right, I want to say hello to Very Enthusiastic Gardener, Knife Collector. Good to see you out there tonight as well. Jerome, hello, how are you? A couple others I have not seen before, but good to see the new faces. Shirley Davis, good to see you out there as well. Matt Bros, Ghost Mountain, hello to you all, and hope everyone is having a great week. Getting ready for the weekend. There's our friend from Tennessee, Randy Willis. Good to see you. Ben Garcia also. Hope everyone is having a safe weekend so far. I can tell you that we will be breaking with any news this weekend for any reason whatsoever. Melody also is in here earlier, and Tammy as well. But we are going to be live on Monday night. If anything else should happen, we will be on before that. But we do expect to be live again Monday night. And possibly we might do a show this weekend as well. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me tonight. I appreciate everyone tuning in to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. If you like our work, check out our Teespring shop. That's in the description box in this YouTube video. You'll see a full store of t-shirts, stickers, hats, whatever that you desire. You can support us that way, or of course, Super Chat or the PayPal donation, whichever you guys see fit. But at the same time, guys, we just appreciate your support. Share this to like-minded individuals as well. Let them know that the sun controls the climate, not man. Because I tell you guys, I think we're starting to make a lot of these AGW people nervous. And it's funny when I see people comment to me when I try to say it's the sun, not man. They always complain about not having any peer-reviewed documents to back up my cooling theory. So what do? Ah, yes, the no trick zone. If you need papers that confirm cooling that are peer-reviewed, No Trick Zone has a giant stockpile of cooling papers. Also, Mari, I believe, has a link as well that has peer-reviewed cooling papers to help you. But it's funny, when you start throwing in the peer-reviewed cooling papers, they're at a loss for words. All they can do is just LOL at you because they've run out of information to debate you properly on. So also, one more thing, I totally ignored this. Check out Western Texas at the end of the month, the Panhandle. We could see a significant ice storm. Yeah, in Texas, y'all. All right, guys, be safe out there. Take care, and we will see you later on. Until next time, we will talk soon.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform. Buy a t-shirt or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.